Hello everyone, welcome back to the Magnificent Mags channel. Video's a bit later than expected, but it's been a busy evening yesterday and day today. So sorry I'm just doing this tonight, but just wanted to get it up. And yes, Newcastle United 1, Fulham 2. It was another home reverse, and let's be honest, we deserved to lose it. It was a poor game. Fulham deserved all 3 points. They had more control, I felt, certainly at the end of the first half and all of the second half. We never really got going. And I think it was more to do with energy and focus and concentration levels. It's no coincidence that when we have big games coming up, that Newcastle's focus tends to drop. And that's certainly the case with Wednesday coming up against Arsenal, who today have just thrashed Manchester City 5-1. But I've got to say, you can't let confidence waver. You've got to try and keep the positives. We are still fifth. Every one of the chasing pack around us have lost their games in terms of Aston Villa. They've lost. Brighton have lost. Yes, Fulham closed the gap onward, but it is still 5 points. Brighton got walloped at Forest. So them clutcher teams who were in and around behind were, they haven't really closed the gap. Stay level with City, as City got walloped off Arsenal today. Top three have won. I still can't believe that Forest won 7-0, but then Arsenal have won 5-1. And then Liverpool are the only team who are getting any consistency this season. So it is encouraging the fact that after our run, I've still won 10 and 12, but we, like others, have seemed to hit a bit of a sticky patch. As I posted today, yes, it's been 3 games now. We did win at Southampton, however, we didn't really need to get out of second or third gear there. So even if we were a little bit off par, 3 or 4, 5 players, which, yeah, we won 3-1, but it wasn't convincing. We didn't really need to be at our best to beat Southampton, but it seemed yesterday the atmosphere was good in the corner to start with. Felt like it was a bit more energy about the place. Obviously, we didn't like the Bournemouth game, not just the performance, but a 12:30 kickoff after we'd played at 7:30 on a Wednesday. It wasn't ideal preparation. Yeah, I'll probably admit in hindsight now, fatigue maybe played a bit of a part in it, as the players looked really off it and leggy. But yesterday was no excuse. The fact we'd played a day earlier than Fulham last weekend, they lost to Man U. We were coming off the back of a win, so you'd think the confidence would be there. And then we had 7 days prep for yesterday, but it just didn't transpire into anything. We started well. Felt like we weren't too troubled. There weren't many chances against what I could say first half. We looked reasonably in control until about maybe the 35th minute. We did score against the run of play. It was a good goal as well. Anthony Gordon was the one who tried to get up the pitch the most, the one who tried the most, tried to make things happen. And yes, I'd probably say was looking for Alexander Isak, but it did fall to Jacob Murphy, and he continued his fine form in putting it at the back of the net. But as I've covered, it is worrying that where game management seems to go a bit awry, and we look ragged at the end that first half. Now, we did have chances. Obviously, we've had Bruno putting the header over. Tino Livramento, he had a good chance. You think in hindsight he could have squared it, but don't blame him in that position. It was a good run, a good 1-2 with Isak, and a good save by Leno when he tried to put it across him into the bottom corner. We're best in what would have been arguably a goal of the season contender if it had went in, was obviously Sandro Tonali's effort from like 30-35 yards, where he just hit it on the half volley. That was an unbelievable effort, and if that went in, that would have brought the roof off the place. But yeah, Jacob Murphy scored against the run of play. But what was worrying in that first half, Joe Linton just didn't have a good game. Yeah, he can be strong, but he does lack the goals, and his passing was really ragged. The couple of chances where he had the ball, simple passes on, and he passed it straight across with defence to a Fulham player. We did have a couple of let-offs there. So that showed you that the game was always on a knife edge. Fulham are a good team, and Fulham always cause problems, especially on transition, when you've got players like Daniel Munoz, Adama Traore and Raul Jimenez. They're always going to be a threat, and they were running with ragged, especially down our right-hand side against Tino Livramento. Now, I love Tino, but it just feels like his development is falling behind Halls a bit. He's got good physical attributes. He can be quick in the turn, get out of tight spaces sometimes. He's athletic, he can get up the pitch, but what he lacks is sometimes he does switch off and his final ball is horrendous at the moment. He can't put it in, like he has a cross and it normally hits the first man. So that's where you think could Kieran Trippier come in. But when Trippier's been coming in of lately, I argue that he could start on Wednesday. I do. I think Trippier could start, but again, he's not the Trippier of old. Trippier is still quality, but when he's come on, we have conceded another goal, and that has been a theme lately. So you've got to try and find that balance. Do you stick with Tino and hope that he'll regain some form? Or do you go with Trippier, who, yes, he's lost a yard of pace, but still has the quality of delivery, he's experienced, he can get through games in tight spots. So that is a question for how. Now going on to Fabian Schär, he wasn't at his best. Some of his passes, I think he only had one of his usual long-range passes, if I remember right, that came off in that second half, when he switched it across to the left-hand side to Gordon. But a lot of his passes that he tried, he's just, he looks a bit off form at the moment, and they haven't been going well. He wasn't good at Southampton, he wasn't good again yesterday. And yeah, his passes were sloppy, so many unforced errors and turnovers that put one on the back foot. They're going into the midfield. I felt Tonali was the best of the three because Bruno was getting caught in possession a bit. Yeah, Tonali lost possession. He wasn't at his best, but as I've just said, he was the best of the three. He was trying to make things happen, but even he was losing it at times. But that might just be in the effect of that the rest of the team was off it, and he was trying to do two men's jobs at once, because even when Joe Linton was on, he felt like he was doing the job of two men. And then Joe Willock came on and he didn't have an impact, unfortunately. Now, I know Willock is a decent player, maybe mid-table Premier League now, how long we've had him here. But we feel like if Willock's going to make an impact on a game, we said this leaving the stadium yesterday, that he's probably someone who needs to start a game because he needs to get into it and have a run of minutes and energy into his legs. When he's coming on as a sub, doesn't really make an impact. And again, going back to PSR, Eddie Howe looked at his bench, but we can say he doesn't really try a plan B. We do stick to 4-3-3. I'm full Eddie Howe in, but you have to admit it sometimes when it's not going well, it's either plan A or nothing. When we're doing well, we're flying, but Newcastle are really like, we're not something in the middle. We're either on fire or off form. There's nothing in between. And when the game's not going your way, he didn't really have any game management for it. And you can back him up to say there's been no strengthening in recent windows, and he had nothing on his bench to change it. And he brought on Trippier for Tino. He brought on Willock for Joe Linton. Neither had too much of an impact. If any player who was better out of the subs who came on, it would have been Trippier, but that's hardly saying much. Willis Sula, he came on at right wing, I'm guessing because of his goal against Bromley where he cut inside and curled it in. Great finish, but this is a Premier League team we're playing against, and a good Fulham team who went to City and arguably shouldn't have lost. They've been to Arsenal, they've been to Liverpool, they've been to Spurs, they haven't lost. They're a very good team. And like I said, the twatted were down there, Craven Cottage, and they were full value for the win yesterday. And then you go through the rest of the team. Gordon was my man of the match, I'd say, overall. Now, Dan Burn as well, I think he played well, despite conceding twice. We would have lost by a lot more, I feel, if we didn't have him aerially, because he was the one who was clearing everything, getting his head on everything, and they put a lot of crosses into the box. Hall, okay. Jacob Murphy, yes, he got the goal, but some of his passing and his runs, he did make the runs, but nothing really come off. Bar the chance second half, where he was involved with the rest of the team for Isak's shot that he curled off the corner of the bar. Again, it's small margins. It was 1-1 at that point. Because Fulham, as soon as whatever the halftime team talk was, Eddie Howe's didn't work. Fulham's did. And they came out, and we were even saying there, we're standing there going, it just looks like a matter of time till they score. And then what happens? They go and get the equaliser. It was a well-worked move. It was. Now, some people might criticise that the ref didn't give a couple of calls, like there was a foul on Gordon, but it wasn't the ref's fault at the end of the day. Yeah, there's some inconsistency, but both goals were our undoing. and we were at fault for them. Especially the winner. Now, they scored a really good equaliser from Jimenez. It was well worked play. But the winner, we had the chance to go ahead. Alexander Isak hit the bar. I don't feel it was a foul on Jacob Murphy. I don't think it was. None of it did around here. We felt it was soft. But at the end of the day, you still have to defend the free kicks better. And yes, well, we felt it was harsh and it was a soft free kick. Two-man wall and Gordon and Murphy right in front of her, and you still have to defend it better. Pereira whipped it in, and Isak got left by Muñoz, and he put it in. Be getting a goal from there. But yeah, it was soft, and as I tweeted earlier, this team only had 16 goals across it if you take Alexander Isak out of that. And Jacob Murphy certainly contributed a lot of them. So we need to spread the goals more because, well, we probably have got the best midfield in the league technically. They're not contributing enough goals. So the goals need to be spread out more and they need to help each other more. But you've just got to try and take a few positives. Burn was all right. Murphy took his goal well. That was Gordon leaving Castagna and Joachim Anderson. St James's Park and figured out a game plan of how to play against her. I hope not, because we know coming up on Wednesday night, it's going to be a severe test. Now, looking back at the Arsenal game of the day, yes, they scored 5. They're a much better team than Bournemouth and Arsenal. You have to say that, they are. I think they're on now 50 points. We could have closed the gap if we won both games to 3 points on them. We would have been on 47. It's all ifs and buts. And the 5-1 win against City is not to be sniffed at. And you've got to say they were good value for the win, watching that game. But thing is, I could also say that City helped Arsenal. A few of their goals were just loose passes or caught on the edge of the box in possession. Obviously, Havertz squared it for the guard's opener. And there was a couple of other poor decisions from City. Like the Partey's goal, that was a deflection. So they got a bit of luck, but again, you make your own luck and Arsenal deserve to win. But we joked earlier, you've got to just think, look, playing at the Emirates and playing at St James's are two different things. We've won 3 of the last 4 against Arsenal. You've got to remember that. The season's not in ruins. I've said it's the start of a big February. Now, we did lose yesterday, but we've got a cup semi-final on Wednesday, a chance to get to Wembley. Then we've got Birmingham, a chance to progress to the last 16 of the FA Cup next Saturday. And then we've got 3 huge league games in City away, which is sandwiched by Real Madrid home and away for City. So I know they've got a squad, though. They might still win that, but we've got a chance to get something there. Then Forest at home, be a solid game. And then probably the hardest game of the lot at Anfield. So still a big month. We'll know where we're at in terms of the race for Europe. We'll know if we're still in the Cups. So we've just got to keep our focus. And as I said, it's different playing at the Emirates to St James's. We've won 3 of the last 4 at home against them. And we won at the Emirates in the first leg. Now, did speak with someone on X today saying it's annoying that the second leg wasn't so soon like it used to be after the first leg. But as I posted before the video started on Friday night, the pre-match preview, it's a Champions League. Yeah, it's been some exciting games, but I feel like it is just set up to self-serve the big teams. It's all about revenue. Playing 8 games now. There might have been jeopardy going into the last game where some teams didn't know if they were through on the playoffs. But that's just giving teams reward for failure and falling into the playoffs. As I posted, I feel it should be the top 16 through and the bottom 20 out. Because getting rewarded for the playoffs, City only won 3 games, but they still went through. That makes sense. But that's it. That's why the second leg wasn't so soon after the first one, because of the Champions League. That just has an effect on the league. So Arsenal played them 2 games, and that's why it's Wednesday night. But we can't lose hope. We can't lose focus. We've got to remember we've won 10 of the last 12. And Newcastle United at St James's Park, under the lights, raucous atmosphere. Everyone will probably be a bit drunk or tipsy, having drinks to calm any nerves and anxiety. That's understandable. Yes, Arsenal are a good team. If they get the first goal, it could be nervy. But if we get the first goal, got to go at them early, got to press them. And if we get that first goal, that'll be 3-0. And yes, they're still a good team, but in that atmosphere with a recent record there, I just couldn't see if we got the first goal, them scoring 3 or 4 to take it extra time or win it, to be honest. I know like Bournemouth have came here and scored 4, but I just couldn't see it. And Newcastle United could be a mentality thing, but they don't really need an excuse to raise the game against the big teams. But we'll wait and see what happens. It's frustrating, but I felt, one eye might have been on Wednesday, and that's why I was focused yesterday. As frustrating as it is, that's just how it goes. And other news, it's been news linking Kieran Trippier with a move away tonight. Whether that happens, we'll wait and see. Lloyd Kelly, it was reported last night that he was going to Juventus by Romano. Then it was cooled down a bit, but then it seems that it's back on. But I've got to praise Paul Mitchell. I defend him Friday. I will again. If he manages to get, I know it's a loan with an obligation to buy, but if Paul Mitchell manages to get £31 million for Miggy and Lloyd Kelly, 11 and 20 million respectively, you've got to praise him. No one else has managed to shift players on. And as I've said, I don't believe that yes, it's a risk. We could be weakened in a way, but Miggy's played about 200 minutes this season. I've said Eddie Howe's words don't speak louder than his actions. He hasn't played, so we're not really going to miss him. The irony would be, typical Newcastle, if we get rid of a right wing and then Murphy's injured. And then all I'll say on Lloyd Kelly is I feel we've got enough cover there. Short is probably transfer in history. It should be pure profit with him coming in on a free transfer. And I feel we've got enough cover. Left back, Target, Byrne and Hall. Centre back, Lascelles, Kraft, Shaw, Botman, Byrne. So I feel we've got enough cover. But anyway, that's it from me for now. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for being patient and waiting for us to post this. Please continue to like, comment, share and subscribe. And I will be back on Tuesday with my pre-match preview of a huge semi-final second leg at St James's. But for now, enjoy the rest of your weekends and have a safe start of the week. Take care. Bye-bye.